What's good, everyone, and welcome back to Kaya's Commentary. And if you're new here, welcome to Kaya's Commentary. This is a podcast that offers commentary on pop culture topics, real world issues, anything in between, and maybe even some advice every now and then. Before we get down to it, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Kaya R. Pennington, and you can follow Kaya's Commentary on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Kaya's Commentary. Also, be sure to hit that follow/subscribe button and hit the bell so you get notified when new videos drop. With that, let's kick it into our first segment, which is not world news. I know I am a world news podcast and that I talk about world news. And I'm sure everyone knows what has happened in America for the last few days. Um, but I can't say much about that. That honestly probably wouldn't get the FBI knocking at my door. Like, so there's nothing that I can say about that except to say, Issa Rae said once that she roots for everyone black. I root for everyone black that's rooting for everyone black. So, in accordance, I root for humans that root for humans. And one of them. So, you don't get my sorrows and prayers. You be alright, tough skin, you be alright. So, with that, instead, let's kick it into our unpopular opinions, which is keeping it a little lighter, where I give my commentary on an unpopular opinion that I have. And today's unpopular opinion: the Hunger Games doesn't need to be a universe. I said it. I said it. Look, if you've seen my video on snake and songbirds, or is it songbirds and snake? I feel like I always flip them, and so I never know which one is right. I I didn't have a favorable opinion of that. And then, about a month or so ago, it was revealed that another prequel was happening, this time either focusing solely on Haymitch or Haymitch's game. So Haymitch is like featured, and we see Snow building that games. And I just don't think that it's needed. Suzanne Collins said that she would only step back into the universe if she had something to say, but it's like, what are you saying? What are you saying? Because honestly, all the moral and sociology, all the moral questions that she posed, nurture versus nature, are we born like this? How did Snow get this way? What was it about him? Can be inferred, or if not flat out said, in the OG trilogy. Why can the OG trilogy just not stand on its own throughout time? Like, I don't, nothing she said in his prequel was so revolutionary, was so thought provoking, and of course, to me, it's all subjective. But was so, oh yeah, this just added another level, another component to the actual story. It didn't for me. It did not. And furthermore, I so love how no, it just has to be Snow. It has to be Snow to get a prequel. And for anyone else wanting Haymitch's story or Finnick or anyone else, you're just a capital mutt because you just want to watch another Hunger Games, which I never have gotten that because in that prequel, in Snow's prequel, we saw Hunger Games, a pretty horrific one at that. So like, I've never understood that argument, but I find it funny because those people are now the same people that's like, oh, I'm sad. I'm sad for Haymitch. I'm sad. We up in here. But I thought those people were capital mutts, and I thought it only had to be Snow. Look, you can change your mind. I'm all for like when you get more information, free will to change your mind, and furthermore, more importantly, letting people change their mind. But y'all throwing out fighting words. Y'all were throwing out fighting words. And now it's, oh, I'm sad. I'm sad. Like, it's just, it doesn't need to be a universe. She's not saying anything that adds to the story, I feel like. And so to me, it's just coming off as a non-BIPOC person profiting off BIPOC struggles because everyone loves a revolutionist until it doesn't look like them. Because, mind you, Katniss was supposed to be like of indigenous descent. Like, I could never write the Hunger Games and it sell not or not sell to her level, not because my name is unknown, but because you wouldn't want to hear anything I had to say about the Hunger Games. She could write the Hunger Games and it sell. You whitewashed it like you did, but it sell. And so to continuously do that, I have to sit with the fact that this person who wrote this story that really kind of got me into reading dystopians anyway, because honestly, that was the Sharon M. Draper books that got me into reading. Um, it's nothing more than a non-BIPOC person profiting off BIPOC struggles, someone profiting off the Hunger Games, a capital citizen, as are we all for continuously going to support that. And it's like, yeah, that's probably the point. Like, we're not exempt, you're not an exemption because you want to be. But I, what truly are we saying here? What truly are we saying here? I don't think that it needs to be a universe. Like, also, other black and brown people who are writing stories along these lines, their books aren't selling to this level or even half of this level because all the money is going to that. They're writing borderline the same stories and they're not selling because we're gonna make her sell them instead. She can sell them and you can't, even though it's your experience. Like, and that's pretty much all I'm gonna say. I do have like a whole rant about it on Tumblr if you want to go check that out on Tumblr, my Tumblr page. Because I do have a Kai's Commentary Tumblr page. So yeah. Um, I just don't think it needs to be a universe. Like, the original trilogy can stand on its own. It's one of those things where you don't touch it after you write it and let it stand on its own and let the questions continuously build up. Well, no, if she continues to write, like, she's getting more people involved and more people are getting it. Getting what? You know, the struggles of like the Palestinians and Congo and Sudan and all these. No, they're not. No, they're not, because they missed the point with the Hunger Games. So how are they gonna continuously get the point by continuously writing and profiting off of the Hunger Games? They're not getting it. Even the actors, some of the actors didn't get it. So like, there is no need to continuously profit off the Hunger Games. It doesn't need to be a universe. That's a quick little unpopular opinion, possibly unpopular. With that, let's kick it into our second segment, What's on TV, where I give my commentary on a TV show I've seen. We are finally getting into Bridgerton season 3. You know what? I'm going to give the overview of the season that they split into 2 parts, and then try to keep my opinions towards the end. So with that, let's get into it. It's Colin and Penelope's. I will already say here and now, though, it does feel more Penelope. Like, hi, I'm Penelope, featuring Colin. That's what it gives to me. But it's their season. So the queen is looking for a diamond, and Francesca, one of the younger Bridgerton siblings, enters society. And we get split between Francesca and Eloise and Colin and Penn. And I find it funny. I do find it funny how the same people, we saw a lot of Penn in season 2, and people were like, dang, I really kind of want to see more of the main couple. And the allergy stands, because I refuse to validate them in their name, was like, oh, it's an ensemble show. It's an ensemble show. And then here we get a lot of Will and Alice, the boxer turned bartender turned Ton member now, and Francesca and a bit of Eloise, and it's like, we need to see more Colin and Penelope, which I actually do agree, because like that would have really helped a lot, I felt. But it's not about these people, it's about them. But it's like, no, it's an ensemble show. It's an ensemble show, babes. Anyway, so Queen is looking for her diamond, but she's not seeing anything that she likes thus far. Colin returns from his yearly travels with supposed sex appeal. All the women want him. He has a different look. We see him engaging in a threesome. Sex appeal. Elle has seemed to give up the fight as far as like feminism, and I'm going against the grain, and she's joined the Ton a little bit reluctantly. Eloise and Penn are at odds. Penn is semi-sorry, or really completely sorry. She did what she had to do, or what she felt she had to do, but she's also sorry that it hurt Eloise. And Ella's content to let her be. She's like, hey, yo, okay, I hear you, but like, I'm not, let's just be. Let's just be. Elle is also hanging out with Cressida, and she low-key someone's keeps her off Penn's back. And we do get a bit of a backstory as to Cressida and why they're chilling after the whole scandal that Penn wrote about Eloise and the printer. Eloise was avoiding Penn, and Penn avoiding Eloise. The Ton was avoiding Eloise. social pariah, and so Cressida was really the only one that would talk to her. Not that I would befriend my friend's tormentor, but also like everybody else is. So, be lonely and just horrible, or, it just happened. It's just one of those things that just happened. Pen is also tired of living at home. Both of her sisters are married, and her mom makes a statement to her. It's like, it's just you and me now. That's all I need. And Pen is like, that's not all I need. I need to get up out of here. I hate this. Nope. You shall not rely on me like this. So she changes up her style, something French, as Colin was in French. She comes to the ball in dazzles, this sparkly green dress, the hair, great. Now her sister and her mama don't like it because they like citrus colors, but she dazzling. She dazzling. So she and Francesca talk, and then we get this new character, Lord Debling. He comes up and talk to her, which real quick, somebody validate me. Somebody validate me. And that Lord Debling, low key, at the very least, low key looks like Tom Mison's character from The Watchmen. It's the split for me. It's the hair split for me that's just like I don't know. Somebody please validate me. It's the hair split. Tom Mison's character on The Watchmen. I kind of see. I don't know. I guess I'm just looking at the split. Somebody validate me, please. But she and Lord Devlin are talking until Cressida comes up and ruins it. She steps on her dress and tears her dress a little bit. So Penn is heading home. Colin goes after her, and Penn confronts him on his words. And then she goes home to write a scathing whistle down. Now, mind you, his words, he was talking to his friends, and they saw him dancing with Penelope at the end of season 2, and he was like, "Oh no, I would never in your wildest dreams court Penelope Featherington." And she heard that, which sucked. So she goes home. Colin comes over the next day and apologizes, quote unquote, quote unquote. Because basically, I cannot tell you verbatim what he said, but basically, what he said was, "I'm sorry you heard that. We all acknowledge that I'm sorry you felt that way is not an acceptable apology. So, why is I'm sorry you heard that? I'm sorry you heard what I said, and not I'm sorry for what I said? Like, he's not sorry for what he said. He said what he said. Like, keeping my biases in check. Keeping my biases in check. But basically, he said what I heard. He said, "I'm sorry you heard that." He didn't say he was sorry for it. But he offers to give Penn lessons on how to catch a suitor. Penn forgives him rather quickly because they're just friends and they know each other so well, and they know that they didn't mean it. Mind you. That's funny. She forgave him for that. Mind you, he spent the next 8 episodes obsessed with finding Whistledown and punishing Whistledown. Okay. And upset that Whistledown wrote what she wrote, said what she said. Okay. Penn forgives him, but realizes that it's too late because she's written Whistledown, where she called him a poser, all this sex appeal. She's like, that ain't him. He a poser. Colin then promises that Whistledown will pay for her crimes against Elle and the cousin Marina, and himself. And also the Bridgerton fam, because she talked a lot of crap about fam. Colin and Penn's lessons begin. I don't count them as lessons because his first lesson, he observes her talking to men, and that's a spectacular fail. And then they have a little, it could be better. And I think then we cut scenes to another scene. Second time they're at a marketplace, and he's like, "You don't really need lessons because you're actually really quite charming on your own." And they talk about when they first met and their friendship, but we don't see any of that. No flashbacks. The third one is where I only really counted it as a lesson because he's like, "Talk to me as if I were a suitor." And she's like, "You have the most beautiful blue eyes." And they have that moment where it's like, "Oh, we're leaning in really close. Oh, interruption. Eloise is here and I can't have her see you at the house because y'all still mad at each other." So she hides in his office, in Colin's office, where she reads one of his sex journals. He gets a little upset at her. And this is where we're supposed to see that he has all this flowery language and he's just such a good writer. And so he gets mad and he ends up like cutting his hand on a piece of glass. Not that he threw at her. It's like it fell or something and he like cut his hand on it. And so she helps aid it, wraps a piece of bandage around it. And they have that moment where she's holding his hand. And it's like, "Oh, we're holding each other and we're getting so really close." And oh, interruption. Yeah, anyway, that's enough lessons for today. So Eloise finds out that he's helping Penn try to get a suitor. And this is supposed to be a little scandalous or desperate or whatever, but she ends up accidentally letting it loose to Cressida and nearing company that Colin is helping Penn, which seems desperate, I guess. And the Tom finds out, and Whistledown has to write about it, so she has to write a scathing article about herself. And Penn's like, yeah, that's not, and Eloise is like, yeah, that's not fun, is it? No, it's not, but I'm sorry because I fear that I was the one that kind of did that, and I didn't mean to, I promise. And so Eloise goes to confront Cressida on it. She's like, hey, how dare you? I told you that in confidence. And Cressida has to check Eloise and vice versa. She's like, I thought we were better than this. Cause like, yeah, I'm a mean girl, but like, I didn't reveal your secret. You did tell me that in confidence. You also told the nearing group of girls in confidence too, because they were sitting there listening to you. And the only reason you came to me first is because you think that I'm a mean girl. Why are you still hanging with me? And Eloise is like, you know what? You're right. That's my bad. You know what? You're right. I do have a low opinion of you, and I should be better about that. Also, you should kind of be better about, like, being a mean girl. Like, you complain about how you don't have no friends, because, like, yeah, you a mean girl. You suck. You backstab everybody. Look what you do in a Pen. Pen didn't do nothing to you. Leave her alone. So, Penn asks Colin to kiss her later. She's still a little embarrassed about, the having to write about herself and the scandal coming out. And she's realizing how she's coming to terms with how she might be a spinster, but she wants to, like, feel a kiss. So she asks him to kiss her, borderline begs, because he's like, yeah, I don't want to do that. Not because it's like, ooh, no, but it's more like, that's, it's a statement from a friend. And so he does kiss her, and this is where his feelings begin to grow. Allegedly, he has a dream about her. Can't get her out of his head. Will and Alice, like I said, we're seeing them a lot. They're now members of the town. One of their son is a lord now. And Will is having trouble letting go of the bar because, like, people in society can't work. The queen won't favor that, and it's like, why? If I can't make money off this, at least let me have my hobby. Like, anyway. Francesca is the queen's sparkler, and she begins setting her up with people, but Francesca is drawn towards John, the character of John. Penn and Cressida vie for Debling's attention about who knows the most, because he's considered eccentric. He's a nature guy. He's a vegetarian. So they're like, oh no, I know more about nature. No, I do. No, I do. So they're like this hot air balloon, and it gets loose, and Colin and the other man grab the ropes to kind of contain it. And I believe that Colin would definitely grab the ropes. I just don't believe that it would be as heroic as they made it look. But I definitely believe he would grab the ropes. So Penn, Eloise, Debling, and Cressida are standing there in a little foursome, and Cressida, Debling, and Eloise just all, they all move. And Penn's back is turned to the balloon. No one said anything to her, and she turns around, see it, and she's like trying to step back, and she's like frozen in place, I guess, for a minute, and then she steps back and falls. And I'm so sorry, but a lot of people were comparing this to that Austin Powers scene, and I definitely could see it. The scene where they're in the warehouse, and the first one, and the security guard is like, stop. And Austin Powers is like, get out of the way! Go! I can't stop this thing! But it's going ever so slowly. Go! Get out of the way! No! That's basically that, yeah. No one said anything to her. Like, why? Also, Devlin comes in. He literally swoops and protects her body with his. And no one says anything. Colin and the others get the balloon under control, but no one says anything about Devlin swooping in to save Penelope, which no one saw it. But if they were building this up like a love triangle, which it seemed that they were doing, she was going to go for Colin at the end of it all. They were in goal. But that's what they seemed they were doing. Someone else should have noticed that Devlin literally said, swoop, and had his own little hero moment. There's not enough credit. Also, we see Colin, this is after he has his dream, so he's really watching Penelope, talk to people just in general. She's getting a cupcake, licks some of the frosting off. He watches that all sensually. Later at a party, Penn and Devlin talk, and she tells him that she's not like him. She's not like super into nature. I like nature, but I like watching it from the inside, not necessarily from the outside. He finds her honesty to be refreshing and begins to court her genuinely, much to Colin and Cressida's jealousy. Ella's getting better about, like, not being so judgmental, but also still stuck in her head because she's like, I don't want to marry, I don't want to engage in the con. Debling is serious, or we were supposed to believe serious about courting Penn, and brings her gift, a little fawn that she can sit in her windowsill to look at nature, and talks of getting permission to marry her. Francesca thinks John is not interested in her but she still continues to be drawn to him because, like, they meet on the street. She's like, hi, hi, so look, meet cute. And then she's like, oh, yes, I like that music that they're playing down the way, but I feel like it should be slowed. And he's like, oh. And then walks off. And she's like, oh. And then later he comes back and he hands her a gift, which is the piece of music slowed down, which she goes home to play on the piano. And it's like, oh, he does like me. They're both very content to be like, I like my silence. I like people were calling it like ADHD and not ADHD, but spectrum coded, and I won't fully support that because even though the signs may be there, a lot of y'all people make stuff up. They'll sit there and say Beyonce is just because of this, just because of that. It's like you made that up, like so. But I guess think that they like their silence. They like their very what's the word regal. I can't think of the word. They're very centered is what the word that I'll say, but they like silence and don't conform to the societal things, quote unquote. Um, so Debling is asking for Pen her hand in marriage, but does confess that he may not be able to offer her love. My thing on this is that we were supposed to believe up until this point that they were building an actual love triangle. So him saying that out of nowhere, up until he said that, definitely this was a meet cute. And I just found that weird. Because honestly, if it was writing for me, Colin would have been the first love and Devlin would have been the end goal. And it would have been something that she had to grow into. They realized that they can grow to love each other, but because they did seem to like a lot of the they were getting on really good, and then it's like, oh yeah, no, I'll never be able to love you and I'm leaving. I mean, we already knew he was leaving, but like, like that was weird. And you obviously knew that it was done so that Colin didn't have any competition, because if he had competition, would he have would the competition have him? Like, but why is he there in the first place? And then he's not even there in the second part, and it's like he could at least went and married Cressida, because like, hey, she want to be left alone. She don't care about love. But no. So they're dancing. Colin breaks up their dance, and Devlin realizes that Pen has feelings for Colin and declines to marry her. Pen is on her way home, upset, when Colin catches up with her carriage, and they cunnilingus in the carriage. And then Colin asks Pen to marry him. Part one, and then we have to wait a whole month for part two, where people sit and think what their criticisms of part one are. And it's like, yeah, maybe didn't hit for me, but I can't fully say that because it's like there's a whole other part. Even weekly episodes would have been better than splitting it into two parts. There was no real reason to split this into two parts. Like, y'all must be going broke because there was no real reason to split this into two parts. Part two, Bridgertons are excited about the marriage when Colin breaks the news, save Eloise. She says that Colin can't fully love Pen unless he knows who she really is. Whistle down, and Pen gives and Eloise gives Pen until midnight to tell Colin, or she will. The news breaks in Whistledown. Brothers are a bit surprised, Anthony and Benedict. And Anthony is hardly even in this, which aggravates me, not because, like, oh, Colin and Penelope are so boring and I only watch for Pen and I only watch for Anthony and Kate. No, Anthony and Kate are Viscount and Viscountess. And I know real world, and this is my problem with filming shows so far apart, they probably had other things to do. But, like, there is no reason. Now, when you're in a show, you might be able to do a little movie here and there, but there's no reason that you should have the ability to go get into a whole other TV show contract because your main show is taking a 5-year hiatus. Like, it's weird that your Viscount and Viscountess are not here. Like, they have duties. He can be lax in his duties a little. He don't got to be as rigid as he was in season 1 and season 2, but they had duties. And they're just, but anyway, they're all drinking and they're a little bit surprised but happy, and all the more surprised and happy when Colin makes it clear that he does Penelope. He does love Penelope. He's always loved Penelope. He just maybe didn't know it. I hate that trope. I ain't even trying to harp on Colin and Penelope. I hate the trope of, oh, like in The Sound of Music. Captain Von Trapp and Maria, they finally confessing their feelings. He's like, I knew I always loved you the minute you sat on that pine cone. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You thought I was a nuisance, and that's okay. And you can admit that. You can admit that you didn't like me at first, and we grew to love each other, and we got off on the wrong foot. You can't admit that. I hate the Oh, I've always loved you. I just never knew it. I was too. I hate it. Like, no, you didn't. And that's okay. That's okay. Um, but he does love her. Penn Spam finds out via Whistledown, and Mama Featherington is upset to have found out via gossip, and she also doesn't think it's like a true love match, a true match as Devlin would have been, until Colin comes in and sets her straight and is like, hey, yo, I do love her, and you back off. Back off. And then he and Penn leave so he can show Penn their new estate where they do the deed. And she was just giving everything in this scene. Like, they had her posted up like she was just a sculpture of a Greek goddess. I love that for her. She was, yes. Um, Queen offers a reward for real info, the uncovering of Whistledown. Kate and Anthony also have news when they're there. We see them and they have news, but they decide to hold off due to Colin and Penn's news of their own. At their engagement party, Penn and Eloise have a rousing game of charades, of secrets and lies and whatnot. Before the conversation turns to Whistledown, they discuss the pros and cons of her being caught. She'll have her own money. No one will want to wed her. She's infamous. Don't know. She don't have to worry about being wed. This leads Cressida Cowper, who isn't having much luck with the marriage market, to confess that she's Whistledown. And the conversation in general, and then Cressida's confession, is too much for Penelope, and she faints. Mama Featherington is genuinely trying to make up with Penn. Colin later visits to make sure she's alright, but she still balks on telling Colin she's about to, and it's like, no, I can't. Eloise and Colin talk of Whistledown. He's like, did you know? And did you know she was Whistledown? And Eloise is like, you talked to Penelope? And he's like, yeah. Did you know? How long did you knew that Cressida Cowper was Whistledown? Tell me you didn't know when you became friends with her. And Eloise is like, no, of course I didn't know that Cressida was Whistledown. No, I didn't know that. Queen calls Cressida, knowing that she isn't the real one, and tells her to write a convincing piece or she will be banished from society. Other consequences of this is that Cressida, who's already being a social piranha because she couldn't get into the marriage market and because she's a mean girl, her father, who's going to marry her up to this really old fart, he was 90 and still wanted kids, decides to send her to his very, very uptight sister when that marriage falls through. So Cressida has no choice but to try and write a convincing piece with the help of her mother. Penn doesn't want Cressida to take credit for her work because, like, hey, yo, that's mine. That's my baby. I started this. I built this brick by brick. So she sets to writing her own piece, but Eloise comes in and talk her out of it. And it's like, hey, no, you really have to give this up. If you really want Colin, Colin will hate you for being Whistledown. So don't tell him you Whistledown. Just did it. Let Cressida take the fall. Let her do it. So Penn agrees, but also to like give it up. She's like, okay, I have to give it up. But Madame Delacroix tells her, hey, yo, don't give it up if you really want it, because at the end of the day, this is yours. You did this. You did this. So Cressida's piece comes out and slams the Bridgertons. Like, hey, yo, 7 kids, are they all his? Oh my gosh, the rag, capital rag, sluts, whores. And so Penn is forced to write a real one. It's like, never would I ever come out and say some stuff like that. Like, I would talk about this. I would talk about that. I might even talk about the Bridgertons in this way. But never would I ever say some untrue, obviously made up stuff. This is what leads the Queen to figuring out that someone in or near the Bridgerton family is Whistledown and crashes Penn and Colin's wedding brunch, because they married now, and telling everyone not a Bridgerton to leave. And Penn almost does, which was purposely done, but it's also aggravating because it's like, it felt misplaced. Also, Kate and Anthony go to India while Pregos. That's their news. They're pregnant, and so it's a couple months journey to India, but we're gonna get there pregnant anyway. We're gonna leave our duties again. Francesca and John get married. It did seem she didn't enjoy the kiss as much as she thought she would. But also Anthony and Kate, Viscountess, not even being there for that second marriage. Like, who gave her away? Like, you're the one that's supposed to do that, not Colin, not Benedict. You are. Anyway, Colin finds out about Whistledown, truly, because he follows Penn to her printer. He and Penn, but really him, fight for a good chunk of the remaining season. Cressida also finds out and blackmails Penn, and then Penn tells her mother that she is Whistledown, and they all go to Colin and Eloise to figure out what to do. Also, Eloise has dumped Cressida at this point because she's like, you think you really gonna take the fall for Whistledown? Like, you think you could really convince people that you're Whistledown? It doesn't sound as mean as it sounds, but it's a little mean. And so Cressida goes to her and is like, hey, yeah, let's write a piece together. And Eloise, knowing she's not whistled down, is like, I'm not gonna do that. You're on your own. And then Cressida turns on her and is like, oh, you're just jealous. You're just jealous of my success. And Eloise is like, if that's what you gotta believe, I guess we're done. And that was such a shock to me because, like I said, I wouldn't befriend my friend's tormentor, but they did it in such a way and flipped. Cressida gave her a depth that's like, yeah, I'm a mean girl, but this is why, and maybe I won't be such a mean girl anymore. And I have a genuine connection with Eloise. And some people were even like, oh, is this going to be like Eloise and Cressida now? Because we all know the way they've written Eloise in TV show, she don't want a man. She don't want no man. That's what people were thinking, right? And then for her to flip it, and I guess on one hand it's like, well, you know, they don't do the stereotypical of the mean girl gets told about herself and then like turns. They do the other stereotypical thing of the mean girl learning about herself and is like, well, I'm always gonna be a mean girl, and then it ends up being like the downfall, her own downfall. That's what they do with Cressida. Colin tries to fix it but makes it worse. And this whole scene, which is also purposefully done, Eloise, Mama Bridgerton, and Colin are trying to decide what to do, and Penn can't even get like a word in on what to do. But she finally decides what she needs to do. She also finds out that her Mama Featherington has stole money from the town, and she low-key judged her. And Mama Featherington is like, yo, don't judge me, because you did the same thing that I did. I stole their money. I stole the town money. You stole their dignity. Now what? Checkmate. You put us in this predicament. She didn't really gaslight her like that, but honestly, you put us in this predicament by writing so much crap about us that we just one thing after the other. We can't get good marriage prospects. We're always the laughing stock of the town. Like, you're part of the problem. So Penn writes a letter to Mama Bridgerton and Queen about who she really is, and it's all revealed at her sister's party because her sister was having a soiree. Penn has this really big speech about why she started the column and how the power of it consumed her and how she wants to be better. She started the column because she felt like she didn't have a voice, and then it really kicked off, and it consumed her. She wants to be better, and with the Queen's blessing, which she gets, she will attempt to be right more than just gossip, which is what Eloise wanted of her in the first place. The Ton doesn't like the news, but Penn is saved by her sisters because they're at this party, and her sister has butterflies, and she's like, release the butterflies, and just distracts the Ton. Colin compliments her on being a good woman. I think this is his I burn for you, bane of my existence, something like he'll try to spend the rest of his life trying to be worthy of her line. I can't tell you what it is because I genuinely don't remember. Violet and Lady Danbury compliment Penn, like, oh, and Lady Danbury's like, oh, I kind of always knew it was you. I suspected it wasn't me. The only other one person, and they did that because, like, in the books, Penn and Lady Danbury are like a lot closer. But it just came off as like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. We don't ever see you ever. Maybe I don't know. I don't remember much about season 1, but we don't ever see you ever have a little glimpse of. Is that? Could it be Penn? And then, because mind you, they whole allergy stand's whole thing is that it's in the small things. You have to pay attention to the small things. Yeah, we don't even get that. So, and Violet, Mama Bridgerton, like, yeah, she wrote a lot of crap. Even if she didn't write the scathing one that Cressida did, she wrote a lot of crap about the Bridgerton. So I would understand being a little peeved, which she kind of was when she got the note. But like, you don't gotta hate her for it because y'all fam, but a little peeved. But they compliment Penn. Penn tells her mother that she can now tell the collector because that's how she finds out about the money, because the debt collector has been snooping around Mama Featherington. It's like, I know you stole that money. And so she's like, you can tell that collector that you got the money from my column. So, epilogue, all the sisters have kids, but it is Penn who has Lord Featherington, and she writes in her column in her voice, so it goes from Julie Andrews' voice to Penelope's voice, and writes in her name, Penelope Featherington. I hope y'all don't put Julie Andrews out of a job, but... And now season 3. Thoughts? I don't know if I've said it yet, but let's get into pros. I did like the look Colin gave Penn at the announcement of the wedding. Like, they're getting it announced to the town. It's like, if you know any reason why they shouldn't be married, speak now. And Penn looks over at Colin. Colin looks at Penn, and he's like, tugging on his collar. Ooh, hope no one says anything. That's the only thing I bought from him, honestly. Like, I was like, yeah, a little awkward thing you would do. Yeah, I bought that. I did like Mama Featherington, and much later, the sisters coming together with Penn, especially since you know a bit more. Now, Mama Featherington, you know, she has harped on Penn, but it's very clear we see that she cares for all of her daughters, and she does the things that she does for them. And so to genuinely, like, I like that. I like John and Francesca, especially John in part two, because he seemed more relaxed around the Bridgerton brothers, like I said in season one. Part one, I keep saying season. Part one, he was a little bit, more tamed. He was more, God, I can't think of the word. He was he was tame. And then season two, he's a little bit relaxed. Part two, he's a little bit relaxed. He's having drinks with them and Will. And I think they added Will because, in addition to them drinking at his bar one last time, Anthony wasn't there and they needed another attractive, kind of truly attractive guy. So I did think that John and Francesca were cute. I actually did like Cressida's brief insight. Not like I said that I would befriend my best friend's tormentor, but like I get why she did it because she didn't want to be. It's the equal opposite ends. Penelope, Eloise, more toxic Eloise, and that she doesn't want to be married truly. I mean, I definitely thought they were gonna lead into like the opposite of her keeping the mean girl energy. Like, I've been told about myself, I'm gonna try to be better, but like I said, they didn't. And either or, I guess, is really low key stereotypical. Continuing to be the mean girl even after you know about yourself, leading to your own downfall, or being the mean girl is like, oh, I am a mean girl, and kind of flipping it. It's like, yeah. And I also like the Tom's dislike of Penn being whistled down because people are harp on, people are like praise Penelope. She could do no wrong. But just as it's important to acknowledge the hurt that Ton inflicted on her, it's equally important to acknowledge that she took it to another level. The bullied becomes the bully by exposing all of their deep dark secrets to each other, especially the Bridgertons, the only fam to treat you like a human, to treat you like family. And yes, it would have been suspicious if she didn't talk about them, but mind you, she harped on them for some occasions. Um, it doesn't mean that they can't be hurt by it, right? Because she's done her harping on them. Any other circumstance, under any other circumstance, she would have been a snake. She would have been a snake. Even her mama being upset because, like I said, we as the audience know that she's been struggling to keep their family afloat, while Penn, with her own funds, is taking them at every possible opportunity beyond repair. So, cons. And I don't know if I said this, but I'm going to continuously say it now. I did not like season one. Daphne and Simon, respectively, did their thing in their roles. Together, they did not give me that I burn for you. Like, they just didn't. And I was not going to watch season two based on season one because it did not sell it to me. It didn't. And neither did Colin and Penelope. It's just a no for me. Now, I made it through the whole season. It's a flat no. Like, this is really the couple that child allergy stands were low-key trying to jump me for when I said they weren't giving break the bed energy. I was 85% confident when I said that. The only thing that's changed for me is that now I can 100% confidently say they didn't sell me break the bed energy, at least not in the cut that we got. Release the uncut version, because that one, Penelope was stunning, but they didn't sell it to me. For one, finding out how truly racist and unbearable this fandom is, especially around the allergy couple, was just oof. Like, finding out that Marina like takes her life and then cheering that because now Eloise gets, because Marina screwed over Penelope, and then it just gets Eloise with that. I think that's the one she gets with. It's like, y'all cheering a suicide? Y'all are horrible. Like, oof. But I made it through. But it was hard because said unbearable allergy stands wanting to say that everyone was media illiterate. They learned a new word, didn't even bother to look up what it meant, just took it and ran with it. It got on my nerves, it just got on my nerves. Now look, there are multiple things can be true at once. You can say you understand something. You can say, I understand that Colin is being a poser, and also say that it gave you the ick, or say that, we didn't get that build up of his character, and still want to watch the piece of media because people are like, well, just don't watch it, and I will even grant you that under special circumstances, like the Acolyte. Oh, it's just horrible, it's tanking Star Wars, it's just horrible. Then don't watch it because you're not watching for the plot. No way. You just want to harp on it. You just want to talk about how well it is. Don't harp on it. Don't watch on it. Don't watch. But shows like this where it's ensemble, where the stories are interconnected, like, yeah, you can say that this aggravated me, but still say I want to watch it because I want to see how it evolves and I want to see how it connects to another story. So you can have your criticism of it and still want to watch the media. Like, shocker, I know. It's up to you to do your due diligence. So you're not doing your due diligence about genuine criticism, which every piece of media, including my podcast, is subject to. And bad faith argument says a lot about you, because people who argue in bad faith are not smart enough to disguise their bad faith argument. So you not being able to differentiate that says a lot about your media literacy, or rather illiteracy, and not the person you're calling stupid just because they have a critique of something that you like. Because we really didn't know these things about Colin. We didn't know that he was having thoughts about being a poser in society. He felt like he had to slut himself out because his brothers were doing it. We didn't know that. We didn't know he was genuinely serious about his writings. Like, sure, we didn't know any of that. He writes letters to his family over his troubles. That could have, we don't know nothing about those letters outside of updates. It could have been like, hey, Paris is great. See you soon. We don't know that. A lot of y'all were saying it's in season 1 and it's in season 2, and you have to see the small things. You have to pay attention and you have to read the books. I think a lot of the Colin Penelope fandom comes from the books. But we shouldn't have to read the books to understand the character, especially when we didn't have to understand that in past seasons. Like, I've seen with my own 2 eyes, allergy stands go back and forth with someone who said the show didn't stand on its own if you have to read the book. Like, that person said that, and then the allergy stand said, yes, it does, but you're just missing the character depth and nuance that the show lacks. Are you trolling me? Because that means it doesn't stand on its own. I've also seen them say, hey, I've seen people say, hey, just because we don't agree on this doesn't mean that I'm media illiterate. And I've seen stands say, yes, it does, because I'm right and you're wrong. Y'all are lost. Y'all are freaking lost. When talking about media literacy of all things, BT dubs, media literacy is just the ability to critically analyze something for its simplest and complex messages and meanings, and how these things reflect thoughts and feelings. You don't get to say that someone is stupid and wrong and say you're right just because, just for funsies. Like, yeah, the show isn't that complex, so people missing the point is not that common. I know media illiteracy is often shown when people miss the quote unquote simple things. The things that's like, yeah, common sense has clearly been chasing you for a while, but you have just clearly been faster. But again, Bridgerton is not that deep a show that the multitude, because this had people so split this season, the multitude of your fandom misunderstands it. It's not that deep. Anyway, and we've known from the get-go that Colin was going to get a season focused on him. So why should we be content with the small things when they could have been honing in on that from day one, like they were with Penelope? I cannot stress enough that this just felt like Penelope's story. I'm Penelope. I can. Like, I'm Penelope. And Colin. Like, that's how it felt to me. That's how it felt. And so it's crazy that allergy stands argue against that statement, because as a stan, would you not want to see more of your favorite character? We're saying the same thing there, babes. We're saying the same thing. Also using the defense, quote unquote, that he wrote letters to Penn on his travels, a way to show he was serious writer, like a serious writer. Oh boy, yes, I clearly see the lack of media literacy happening, because again, those that we don't know anything about those letters, they could have equally just said, Paris is great, see you soon. Like, then there's the lack of build-up in regards to them as a sellable couple. To me, I just didn't see it. And again, I will stress, I didn't see Daphne and Simon. They're two quote-unquote conventionally attractive people. Respectively, they did their thing. Together, they did not sell to me that I burned for you. I was not going to watch season 2 because I didn't like season 1. And I was like, I don't care to see anything else I got to offer. Like, they didn't sell it to me. A lot of y'all would dismiss that as fat phobia, which is a thing in and out of the fandom. I have seen the article. But everything can't be fat phobia. So hear me when I say this. I don't see them as a couple because I can't fathom what Penn sees in Colin. A lot of y'all were saying, oh, y'all can't see someone like Colin with Penn. But it's good. I can't see someone like Colin with someone like me. The himbo trope gets on my nerves, and I can confidently say I would never date one. Never. And yes, I do personally consider Colin a himbo, because why when Elle brought up Penn when he was talking about Whistledown, he was talking about Cressida. Like, y'all was all in the same room when that happened. Penn was in the same room. So why would Elle bring up Penn? Like, you talked to Penn about Whistledown? Well, what does Penn have to do with it? We were all in the same room. Like, we're talking about Cressida. Like, it something didn't click. And then his complete oblivion about Penn, her feelings towards him, the Tawn's feeling towards her, and that he doesn't know not to joke about not dating Penn to them. Because he said that in the book to his brothers, and it's one thing to say it to his brothers, nah, I would never date Penn, we're just friends. But to say that to people who actually dislike her, disdain for her, and you not know that there is genuine disliking of that. Then not knowing that Penn actually craves love and doesn't want to be a spinster like Elle does. Because y'all love to harp on Eloise for being a bad friend, and admittedly, she's not the greatest. But y'all can't harp on Elle for not noticing these specific things in Penn and then fawn and make excuses for Colin for doing the same thing. Pick a struggle. Anyway, also, in all honesty, with the acknowledgement that fat phobia is here, but also with the acknowledgement that every criticism can't be fat phobia. There are genuine criticisms. Um, Genuinely, is it that everyone just cannot see uh Colin with Penn? Or is it that y'all see y'all selves too much entirely in this ship and start projecting even on real criticisms? Because like everybody can't be fat phobic. Like genuine criticism versus bad faith argument, that's up to you to distinguish which one is which. There was something missing. The flashbacks that showed us a friendship and the possibility of more on both sides and the tension. Not toxicity, but tension. Too many of y'all are like, y'all just want them yelling at each other, and that's not their style, which the later had proved that untrue. So would you rather have her shouting that she loves him and him shouting that he doesn't trust her? Um, or and that he's of no use to her? Or would you rather have them both shouting about how passionate they are for each other? Because apparently it's one or the other. Pick one. Anyway, that is not toxicity. It's tension, which doesn't always have to equal toxicity. That will they, won't they, those flirty lines that blur the lines between something a friend would say, and something a suitor would say. The looks, which y'all swear was in one and two, but I genuinely did not see. I don't think we get that from Colin. Like, I just don't. And I just don't buy him as a sex god. Maybe the boy next door who gets played, but not Anthony Simon Benedict level sex guys they tried to make him. And yes, I know that's the point. My point is that they should have circled back to that to show that this was his true self. Because, like, it drives me crazy. It's like, oh, Colin is giving us the ick. Well, yeah, that's what he's supposed to do. Well, congratulations, he did it, and now I'm complaining about it. Like, just because something, can I not complain? Because something that did something that was supposed to do, did what it was supposed to do? I can complain and still get that that's the point. Y'all swear y'all want to be so, y'all swear y'all so smart and just sound so stupid. Like, people can complain about aspects that are meant to bug you and complain about how it did indeed bug them. It did what it was supposed to do. And his lessons with Penn were non-existent. Like out of all the three, he only engaged in one, which is when he told her like to talk to him as a suitor. But because we know so much about Penn, I just had to keep pushing through out of my mind that this wasn't her story because it's really like their story together or his story. Because until they made it clear that Devlin wasn't looking for love, I did see that as a meet cute that could grow into love. And in her story, she realizes that Colin, while a friend, was just maybe not a suitor and would move on to Devlin. Maybe Colin realized that he loved her, but maybe it'd be too late and he'd just have to deal or he'd move on to somebody else. Like in her story, it just she forgave him entirely too easily for what he said, but he's sitting there harping on all that she said. Like I don't care how good friends we are. If I hear you talking behind my back to somebody, people that I know don't like me, you not in tune with me enough to know that these people don't genuinely like me. That's a problem. That's a problem. And Colin did give insta love, and I hate, and I think that's what I was like trying to say about the whole I knew I loved you from the minute that and I just didn't realize it. No, you didn't, because that would have been insta love. Like you didn't. We had our problems, and that's okay. I hate insta love. Personally, I hate insta love. And that's what he was giving to me. But no, he had his moments. He saw what he wanted and went for it. Whatever. Whatever. I'm so sorry. It didn't. Because we didn't get the flashbacks or them being friends, I didn't buy any of that. I didn't want her, he did give that. I didn't want her until someone else showed interest. And all y'all are like, no, like I said, he saw what he wanted and went forward. Saw what he wanted after someone else was a genuine option. And after she begged him to kiss her. The whole I always loved her, didn't know it sucks butt to me. It does. And every trope, not just this one. I keep saying. Like I think I give the Sound of Music reference? I can't remember if I did, but basically Captain Von Trapp and Maria, and it's like, oh, I loved you from the moment I saw you saw on that pine cone. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. And that's okay. That's okay. Um, It's okay to admit that y'all got off on the wrong foot and that you didn't see her as a viable option until you were faced with losing her. The latter is still a little sucky depending on the scenario, but at least be honest. And if we had gotten flashbacks of them being friends with the whole will they, won't they, then that statement might have passed for me, but because we didn't, it did not fly. And I also didn't like that Penn getting over his statement about the other men, where they're friends. So of course she got over it, and that's just that. Um, well, on that alone, she deserves better. Because you telling me you hear your friends, like I said, you hear your friends talking mad crap about you to others you know dislike you as a joke, you would forgive them so easily. It's one thing to upset it to his brothers, like you did in the book. Um, but it's a whole other thing to say to people who despise her. That's not cool, and I totally get her publishing what she did about him. I wouldn't have taken it back. I would. In addition to my love, you would have to earn my friendship back because that is not, I cannot stress enough, okay. And again, him not knowing that they didn't like Pan is another problem in and of itself. That y'all love to harp on Eloise because she's so self-absorbed and doesn't notice anything, but Colin's oblivion is an excuse because they're friends and they truly know each other and they wouldn't do anything to intentionally hurt each other. Be serious. Be serious. And for the love of God, friends to lovers, because y'all making. Ooh, friends to lovers is not an underdog trope. So many of them were acting like, oh, y'all just hate to see healthy friends to lovers, and y'all like that toxic enemies to lovers stuff, which friends to lovers definitely can be toxic. And it's just not an underdog trope. It's not that hated. Now, admittedly, I low key dislike friends to lovers in most romance books because you see that they've been friends for years and never said anything for one reason or another, and it's just given, we were friends this whole years, but you just want to smash. I don't buy it. I buy it more in real life media. And with the acknowledgement that there are those that are like, let them be friends, although that is mostly occurs in white man, black woman ships, that doesn't make it an underdog trope. I'm gonna list y'all some of my favorite friends to lovers. All-time favorite, Ickaby, Sleepy Hollow. Rick Shone, second. I definitely said that Rick Shone dethroned Ickaby. I lied. I lied. Ickaby then Rick Shone, which these two definitely could show you how to do the will they, won't they chemistry. Sid Carm, an incredibly slow burn, but if they go ahead and get their heads on straight, that would be a slow burn. The Bear. Kate and Castle. Arwen, Gwen and Morgana, something that I buy way more than Merthyr, but even still, Merthyr, all from Merlin, BBC's Merlin. D'Artagnan and Constance, BBC's The Musketeers. Lucifer and Chloe, Lucifer. Overton and Sinclair, living single, that's what, 10? A lot of people were in the trenches with Ron and Kim from Kim Possible, Chandler and Monica from Friends, Booth and Bones, ever drawn out, Bones, Benson and Stabler, again, ever drawn out, the Law and Order universe, Fitz and Simmons, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Barry and Iris, The Flash, Felicity and Oliver, Arrow, Lana and Clark, Lois and Clark, Oliver and Chloe, what is that, 20? Chloe and Jimmy, all from the Smallville universe. Joan and Sherlock from Elementary, but even John and Sherlock from BBC Sherlock, I guess. Betty and Daniel from Ugly Betty. Stefan and Caroline, The Vampire Diaries. Stephen Bucky from Stephen Bucky and Stephen Natasha from the MCU universe. So like 27. Like all of these have their critiques as well as their troopers, but just because they have their critiques doesn't make the trope itself an underdog win. And I could keep going, but you get the point. So clearly, friends to lovers, even slow burn friends to lovers, isn't the issue. It's the buildup. They were not built up, even in their own season. Like she's steadily telling him, I love you, Cullen. And it's like, we know, but we don't know the depth of his love for you. And he's just jealous and established writer. He wants to take care of you to satisfy his own male pride in society. Like, it's just. Also, y'all love harping on Elle for not being a feminist. Okay. Okay. But act like Pen is this awesome girl. She's not. None of them are because they weren't raised to be girls. Like they weren't. She's no more a girl than Elle is a feminist. Like honestly, as I was looking up the definition of what a girl, Pen doesn't fit it. And honestly, a lot of us don't. A lot of us in real time, real society don't. To go on a very quick, this is going to be a long video. I didn't want it to be an hour-long video. To go on a very quick spill that might easily be misinterpreted. I think a lot of women who claim to be girls, and feminists aren't. And I actually think it's an unsustainable goal. Bear with me. It's one thing to be a feminist and fight for the rights of all genders, as is the true mark of a feminist. But to use that and being a girl's girl as a moral standard, oh, I can't mess with you if you're not a girl's girl. Some of y'all most famous suffragettes weren't girls' girls. Do y'all not get that white women and black women got the right to vote in two different times, and black women had their own little movement, and so on for different women of different genders? I think I could be wrong, but a lot of indigenous native women didn't get the right to vote until the 70s, or Hispanic women. Like, I could be wrong, but like, weren't girls. Now there's centering male validation and being a pick me, and then there's just not being a full girl's girl, which can coincide, but you just have to figure out what's what. Personally, I'm not a girl's girl. Rather, I'm a girl's girl to an extent. I'm a feminist to an extent. In the same sense, I'm pro-black to an extent. I'm pro-black for people who are pro-black. I don't support all women. Pick-me's and those that center male validation are dangerous. Dangerous to my health, and I wouldn't wish them well in the same sense that I wouldn't wish a male feminicide well. I'm not fighting for the rights of women who look at me as three-fourth human. I'm not riding with black folk who exclude LGBTQ plus as from their black utopia. Who exclude those who don't identify as Christian from the strictly white Christian from their black utopia, who expect black women to take all types of crap from black men just for the sake of black love. So you see, placing these labels on people and expecting them to wholly be that thing is unrealistic. To go back to Penn, reveling in all the ladies of the town's secret because you're socially awkward or because you pushed out in society before you can, or because you know you're a little bit bullied, which is fair. But then again, how much is too much before the bullied becomes the bully? Decidedly doesn't make you a girl's girl. Like, leave that convo at home because there's no place in their society. Overall, 5.5, 5 to 6.5 out of 10. It was just lacking. It also made me think back to the past seasons and the glaring differences. Like, you definitely feel the difference, and I do somewhat care to see Eloise Benedict and even Francesca's gay love stories, but also not, especially if we have to wait like 2 years for 8 episodes. If I do watch them, I certainly won't go out of my way to talk about them on here like I've done with season two, with Charlotte, and with this. I may make comments online, but honestly, that's it. I'm officially like, my Bridgerton watch has come to an end. And I can't say this was like a bad way to end it. I'm not saying that, but it definitely just made me realize I don't know if I want to proceed with the way that they're going as far as like seasons back to back and all of that. So that's what's on TV. Let's get into a quick college advice. Our third segment, college advice from a college grad. Not everything will apply. These are just things that I have found useful, and so I hope that they help someone else out there. What works, works. Go what works for you. So honestly, and even really before you go to college, but certainly and especially if you get a fat refund check, take a little bit out of that and put it into a separate account as a college fund, just so you already building up your college money to start paying back if you didn't already start doing that before. Especially if you get a good refund check, even if you get like 5,000 refund check, take 200, 2,200, whatever. Take some money from that refund check or from your working check or whatever. Put it in a separate account so that you are already collecting money in a specific account to specifically pay back. So that hopefully by the time you get to that end of that, what is it, a 6 month grace period, you will have a little bit of money to start paying back. That I promise you will be helpful. It's very been helpful to me. So I hope that that is helpful to you. Take a little bit, grab it, put it in there, just build it up. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. You go to your savings, you go to your check-ins, really your check-ins. Do not touch this other college account. That's just a little bit of college advice that is helping me, hoping, because I'm post-college. I'm actually going to go back for my master's, I think. I think. So I hope that is helpful to you. With that, that's college advice from a college grad, and that is Kaya's commentary. If you like this episode, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button down below, leave comments down below. Let me know any of your thoughts and opinions on any of the segments that I had. Be respectful, because I know people think the season 3 of Bridgerton is this underdog season. Be respectful. We can have a conversation with one another, but only if we are respectful with one another. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to follow on all my social media. With that, I'll see you next time.